President Trump said that he would not rule out boots on the ground in Iran. Israel's Benny Gantz has come out and also echoed this point from Trump.
Do you think eventually there will be a need for boots on the ground?
I would not exclude it for those reasons or other, but we'll have to see how it goes forward.
And will that include Israeli boots on the ground, do you think?
I exclude nothing.
Before there were any U.S. casualties announced, before any U.S. troops were put into a body bag, which now, as I understand, they call them transfer containers instead of body bags or coffins, because transfer container is much less grim. So they don't want to have the public turn against this war. So they're transfer containers, right? They're transfer containers carrying the bodies of young American men and women coming back home. But before there were any U.S. casualties announced, we all saw the polls, and the polls showed us that only 27% of Americans approved of the strikes on Iran. 43% disapproved. So that is a shockingly low number. That's shockingly low even for what I would have imagined. Now that there are troops dying, how low can it go? I think all the way to zero. I don't think anyone besides like Laura Loomer, Barry Weiss, Ben Shapiro, and who else? Mark Levin. You got four. You got four out of our entire country. And I think, Lindsey Graham too. Can't forget about him, right? And probably Erica Kirk. So 6. I'll give them 6 people in the entire country actually support this. I don't even think Trump supports this at all. I don't think even Trump understands what's going on. Does Trump strike you as someone who's like ideologically committed to Zionism? He literally doesn't care. But anyways, those numbers are actually going up now. So US CENTCOM announced that late last night, the amount of American soldiers killed went up to 4. And just a moment ago, US CENTCOM has now admitted that the number of American soldiers who've died in the conflict is up to 6. Okay, Trump admits that US troop casualties could be quite a bit higher than the initial estimates. Now, what's he talking about here? As far as deaths, the US military does have to report deaths. So the deaths are, as reported, 6 deaths, 6 troops killed in action. Unless, of course, it's troops on classified missions, like special operations. We'll be right back with the video, but first, a quick word from our sponsor, Atomic Minerals, trading under ATOM on the TSX Venture and ATMMF in the United States. In our last spotlight, we talked about how Atomic Minerals could be positioned to answer America's urgent need for domestic uranium. Today, that story is moving faster than anyone expected. The $2.7 billion Department of Energy Uranium Enrichment Initiative isn't just a headline, it's a game changer. This commitment signals that the U.S. government is serious about securing domestic uranium supply, and the market is responding. Uranium explorers with strategic assets and proven management are seeing increased interest as the reality sets in. America needs these companies. This isn't about speculation. It's about national security. The U.S. military relies on uranium for advanced defense systems, naval reactors, and strategic deterrence. With Russia controlling global enrichment capacity and the U.S. dependent on foreign suppliers for over 90% of its uranium, the vulnerability is real. The government's $2.7 billion commitment proves they understand the stakes. Atomic Minerals could have what the market is looking for. Atomic's leadership includes members who are part of the discovery and subsequent $654 million sale of the Rough Rider deposit to Rio Tinto, and with 4 strategically located uranium projects in the Colorado Plateau, the team isn't new to this. They know how to find uranium, how to de-risk projects, and how to create shareholder value. With exploration programs underway and government support for domestic uranium accelerating, Atomic is in execution mode. You have a government mandate backed by $2.7 billion, a proven management team with a $654 million track record, strategic uranium assets in America's proven uranium province. Atomic Minerals is executing on multiple fronts, and with the government supporting domestic uranium accelerating, this is a story you need to be following closely. Check out the link in the description to stay updated on this critical minerals opportunity, and a special thanks to Atomic Minerals, trading under ATOM on the TSX Venture and ATMMF in the US, for sponsoring today's video. If Delta Force were to be killed, someone like that, they do not have to report casualties or deaths at this time, anything like that. CIA also, they don't have to report stuff like that. So we do know that there are actually more casualties in all likelihood, because they also do not have to report the amount of injured personnel or injured troops. They don't have to tell us that information. They only have to tell us the deaths of standard troops, okay? But he says that he believes that the casualties could be quite a bit higher than initial estimates, and this is probably going to get worse, as he has said now not once, not twice, but 3 times. He said it again today. General Dan Kane also said we expect to take additional losses in the coming days and weeks, so hinting at the fact that this is not a quick in and out operation. They led everyone to believe that this was going to be in and out and we're done. Trump said, we think that this is going to go like Venezuela. He said, I'm hoping that in the coming days it goes like Venezuela, right? They think it's going to be like the 12-day war. Does Iran's response look anything like the 12-day war to you? If you haven't picked up on this now, I don't know what you need to see to understand that this is, they closed the Strait of Hormuz effectively. They have done nonstop strikes on U.S. bases in Israel and a UK base in Cyprus since the moment that the Ayatollah Sayyid Khamenei was assassinated, along with his family and his 14-month-old granddaughter, and over 160 schoolgirls at an elementary school in Manib, and also 40 to 60 young girls that were playing volleyball at a sports arena. The moment that they did that, everyone was like, okay, yeah, no, this is not the same. And his wife died, yeah. Ayatollah Khamenei's wife succumbed to her injuries as well. So this is not a quick in and out operation. That's why Trump is looking as upset as he was, and he didn't announce, he didn't do his speech on the first day as he had intended, because as Trump now has admitted, they were very shocked by the Iranian response when this all began. And they still are shocked, as they're saying. They said that today. Senior U.S. officials to the Washington Post say inside the Pentagon and among some members of the Trump administration, there was deepening concern on Sunday that the Iran conflict could spiral out of control. Gee, I wonder if anyone warned them of that before they started this. Oh, wait, sorry, they didn't start this. Pete Hegseth gave a speech today and said, we did not start this, but we will finish this. He went on to say, this war is not about changing the regime in Iran. The regime has already changed, and the world has become a better place. Pete Hegseth is the lowest IQ member of the entire Trump administration. And he's effectively leading up like one of the most important departments. Department of Defense, he leads up. Department of War now. I don't know. I not in the administration or any government office, but I would imagine the most important government branches are probably Department of Energy, Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, and State Department should not be the most important at all, but it is very powerful. It is very powerful. But as far as like raw sheer importance, things that could go wrong, problems that could arise, those 3 first ones I mentioned, he's definitely in one of those 3, in the top 3. And he's literally saying, we didn't start this war. Yes, you did. You literally did start this war. What are you even saying? Like, you assassinated Khamenei and his family and all the military leadership. Like, you bragged about that the first entire, 24 hours of this conflict. Oh, we were negotiating under the guise of, doing this in good faith, but actually we selected the date we were going to do this weeks in advance. So no, you obviously, I don't even know what to say to that. It's so stupid. The regime has already changed and the world has become a better place. Bro, as the words were coming out of Pete Hegseth's mouth, U.S. troops were getting blown up into a million pieces by Iranian ballistic missiles and Shahed 139 drones. It's like, bro, how are you going to say that there's regime change when U.S. troops are getting blown up? And literally nothing has changed since the moment that Khamenei, the 86-year-old leader, are we going to sit here and actually believe that Iran didn't have a succession plan in place if, in fact, the 86-year-old leader passed away? Like, are we going to... Come on, bro. Use your brain. Or at least expect that everyone else around you is using their brain, right? President Trump said that he would not rule out boots on the ground in Iran. Now, this gets at something that I mentioned immediately after Maduro was kidnapped in Venezuela. After Maduro was kidnapped in Venezuela, there were reports saying that U.S. Delta Force Special Operations Forces were going to be staged in the Middle East. Then we saw that they got sent to Azerbaijan, which is a Mossad Israel hotspot. Okay. The possibility of U.S. rank and file troops being sent to Iran, not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That would take, in a good scenario, when you're not having the Kuwaiti airports, the Baghdad airport, potentially the all the airports in the UAE, all of the airports in Jordan, potentially, although I don't think that's happened yet, but that is a possibility, right, with these Iraqi drone strikes from the Iraqi militant groups. But the airports in Saudi Arabia, if all these airports weren't under attack and there wasn't a constant flow of Iranian attacks on all these countries, right, maybe in 9 months, the U.S. could deploy a sizable number of assets, and this could be like a clean operation, and you could have troops there and whatnot if we had delayed this for 9 months. But the idea that they're going to deploy troops right now, it's ludicrous. It's insane. It's not going to happen. He's talking out of his ass. The Iranians know this. There could be, however, though, as I mentioned, a very light presence of special operations forces like Delta Force going on the ground. We discussed this before the war began. What could they potentially do there? Possibly going to sniff out some of these nuclear sites that have been new nuclear sites they suspect the Iranians have built, but they're not exactly sure if they're there. Sniff out some of these larger, newer underground missile facilities, see what's going on there. Personally, I don't think that this is a good idea. I don't think it would go well. I think that maybe if they did do this, or they have done it already, we'd be in a situation where, in a year, there's a New York Times story that leaks that shows that they all got killed or something. I personally don't believe this is a good idea. Israel's Benny Gantz has come out and also echoed this point from Trump.
Do you think eventually there will be a need for boots on the ground?
I would not exclude it for those reasons or other, but we'll have to see how it goes forward.
And will that include Israeli boots on the ground, do you think?
I exclude nothing. We've been waiting for 47 years, and we came to a point where every necessary means should be taken in order to achieve our goals.
What we're seeing from... Do you think
I exclude nothing. We've been waiting 47 years, and we came to a point where every necessary means should be taken to achieve our goals. Well, that's easy for the Israelis to say. As for those in the Gulf states, the GCC states, I mean, they're just getting hammered relentlessly by these outdated, low-grade, short-range missiles that the Iranians have just had sitting around for years, and they couldn't even use during the 12-day war. But for the Israelis, I think it's going to become increasingly difficult for them to say this sort of stuff. I think that Iran has been quite clear that they are ready and willing and intending to increase the size, scope, scale of their attacks on all of the same targets that they've been hitting. And this is only going to get worse for the Israelis. In fact, we'll discuss this in a little bit, but the Israeli home front, internal front commander came out and said, yeah, all of our bunkers, even the ones that are supposed to protect us from 900 kilogram warheads or whatever, yeah, they are fully penetrable by these Iranian ballistic missiles. So basically, going and hiding out in the bunkers doesn't do you any good if you get hit. It's just more so for protecting you from shrapnel and collapsing infrastructure. Now, Israel now believes that the war could last until Passover, mid-April, Initially, Israel and the United States assessed it would be a 4-day operation until the regime fell. You see how this stuff works? 4-day operation will very quickly soon turn into a month, and then 2 months. And then, who knows how long it's going to go. Trump says Iran operations likely to last 4 to 5 weeks, but says he's prepared to go far longer than that. Again, I would ask that question to those who are at the U.S. bases in the Gulf states if they think this is going to go 4 to 5 months when they're running out of air defenses as we speak. The U.S. is resorting to terror attacks on Iran. In fact, right now, this very moment, we are witnessing heavy strikes across Tehran. So pray for those in Tehran at this very moment. There are very heavy strikes going on right now in Tehran. And earlier today, they bombed, I believe they've now bombed 2 hospitals. They bombed the Gandhi Hospital in the capital of Tehran. This was yesterday. Bombed schools full of little girls, sports arena filled with young women, hospitals filled with patients, you name it. And IRGC intelligence has announced this. Now, this is also a possible avenue for... This is a real problem that Iran does need to watch out for. IRGC intelligence announced today, it is hereby informed to the heroic nation of Iran that the ruthless enemy's next steps will undoubtedly include terrorist actions and riots, as indicated by their bombing of some military and law enforcement locations. Therefore, any security disrupting movements will be considered direct cooperation with the enemy and will be met with the iron fist of your sons in the IRGC intelligence organization. So we know that Israel, we saw that in the first nights of the conflict, they were striking border security posts along the Iraqi border. What are they going to do? They're going to activate these sleeper cell militant organizations that are backed by the CIA and Mossad and say, all right, go into action. And at the same time, they're going to be hitting the besieged centers left and right. And then they're going to say, all right, our Mossad rioters, fire up those Starlinks. And they're going to try to do something like this. But my question is like, okay, I kind of understand the MEK militant organization angle. But like, as for the odds of people being out in the streets, people are out in the streets right now, millions of people across the country. They're all in support of the government. You mean to tell me that there's going to be like, 100, even 500 paid Mossad agents, and they're going to somehow not get the shit beat out of them if they try to go and like rally against the government? Anything could happen. Crazier things could happen. But personally, I don't know. I don't see that. I don't see that taking place. I mean, things could change. Never, no one is a winner in war until the final day, the final battle, right? Anything could happen. It's wise not for anyone to get cocky. And I think it's very good that the Iranians are aware of this and that this is not just a threat, but this is probably going to happen. An attempt like this is going to happen. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.